back to Sports Rock.
Rock.
That was Funk 49 by Joe Walsh and James Gann. We're going to get into, first of all, I want to ask this question real brief. It's a yes or no question. Mr. Becknell, did you watch the Pro Bowl?
No.
Mr. 80, did you watch the Pro Bowl?
No.
I didn't either. So, we're not going to recap it because it was not even really a game.
I know Brandon Marshall caught 4 touchdowns.
Well,
that's pretty much all I know, I think.
The Pro Bowl,
pitch and catch.
yeah, the Pro Bowl has pretty much become, I mean, even the players think it's a laughing stock. I mean, it's not entertaining for anybody. You know, they're out there, you know, pretty much tweeting mid-play. That was the big thing, is that the NFL lifted the silence.
Right, they allowed them to tweet
social
during the
media,
game.
right, social media. It's become just honestly, I mean, the players that are in the Super Bowl don't even show up. The ones that do show up don't play. I mean, you got Joe Thomas standing there basically, when the ball is hiked, he stands up, puts his hands in front of himself, and just stands there.
I've seen harder hitting in a flag football game.
Yeah, I mean, they can't rush the quarterback. They can't blitz. I don't think he can't even really tackle. So what can be done to make it more exciting, to make it something people want to watch?
Boy, that's a good question. People have talked about a skills competition. I think that's okay for quarterbacks, but I'm not sure how you skill anybody else out. As far as the game itself, back in the old days when I was younger, that game, I don't want to say it meant something because I don't know how much it meant, but guys played harder. I know that. And it was a vacation. It was a reward for being an outstanding player to get to go to Hawaii for a week. Well, nowadays these guys make so much money that going to Hawaii is something they can drop on a dime and go for the weekend. They don't care. I know Aaron Rodgers wasn't happy with the performance of some of the players. He thought they just kind of lollygagged around, and they do. How you fix the game? Do you want to up the ante of if you win? I think now it's 50,000. If you win, 25,000. If you lose, those guys probably gamble that much money away in a week. If you raise the ante to where it's 100,000 if you win and 50,000 if you lose, I'm not sure that makes a difference to these guys anymore. I'm to be honest with you, other than eliminating the game, and I don't know if the fans, there's 3 fans right here of football that didn't even watch the game, and I'm sure there's many, many more millions out there that didn't watch it, that don't care. Outside of eliminating it, I'm not sure how you fix it. I really don't.
Mr. Eady?
I personally think that what you need to do is, quite honestly, eliminate the ball game, because the guys showing up, as Mr. Becknell said, they can go to Hawaii whenever they want. They make enough money, it doesn't matter. They don't show up to perform any kind of entertainment, to say the least. I say eliminate that game, and instead of having that, just have an awards for the guys that would be at the Pro Bowl, and basically preview the Super Bowl. Because that's the game that everyone wants to see, is the Super Bowl. Giving awards out to the people that have made it to the Pro Bowl.
It's a tough fix.
It is. It's hard because there's nothing there that's incentive.
The problem is football is such a physical sport that you can't really do it in the middle of the season because nobody's going to show up because they don't want to risk getting hurt for the rest of the season.
Right.
It's not like basketball and baseball where the injury risk is fairly low, and yes. You do it after the season, and it's totally pointless. You do it the week before the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl players don't show up. I mean, really, the NFL has kind of let it go to the point where they're effed if they do, they're effed if they don't.
Well, they have let it go to where the players, it used to be such an honor to go that nowadays guys, I got a little sprained ankle. I'm not bothering. My elbow hurts a little bit. I'm not bothering. I mean, I guess if you're hurt, that's one thing. But guys just don't care. They just don't want to go. They might go because it's probably a free trip. Because it's probably somewhere in their contract they got a $50,000 bonus for making the Pro Bowl. But nowadays the Pro Bowl, Alex Mack for the Browns made it last year, and I think he was the 4th center because the first 3 didn't want to go.
Yeah. One thing
I think that's the key thing, though, right there. It used to be an honor to go to the Pro Bowl. It used to be. Anymore, anybody that, even if they're not even hurt, it's like, man, I got other things going on. The season's over. I don't want to do it anymore.
They're tired of playing football.
Yeah,
they've been playing football since June.
It's a waste.
Training camps.
Yeah, exactly.
July.
Exactly.
Now,
and then the first season's over, and if, like you said, if they're going to be in the Super Bowl, they're definitely not going to.
But see, back in the old days,
It's a
those guys
waste.
didn't make that kind of money to where an extra $20,000 was big bucks.
Yeah.
Nowadays, $20,000 that spills out in the
They
change
don't
on
care.
the couch.
Right. They don't care.
And like you said, back then a trip to Hawaii was
It was a big thing.
it
was
because
paid for.
they couldn't afford to just pick up and do it all.
Right. Well, those guys back in, you want to go way back in the day, those guys, after the season was over, they went to work in the steel mill.
Yeah. Yep.
It wasn't a 24/7, 365-day-a-year job like it is now.
Right.
Those guys take a month off or whatever to kind of let their bodies heal, and then they're right back training again. They just don't have any interest in playing another football game.
There's no pride in being a Pro Bowl player.
No, there's not.
That's why you're the 4th alternative going to the Pro Bowl. Because
One thing
the 3 guys ahead of you really don't want to go.
One thing that I, when we were discussing this prior to the show, I had thrown out there is maybe doing something like baseball does, where you move it. You'd have to move it to at the end of the year after the Super Bowl, and the winning conference hosts Super Bowl next year, the next season, like baseball does with the World Series. And I think that would create more interest with the players. But like Mr. Becknell had addressed, the NFL doesn't want to do it like that. They want to do neutral sites. But I think they need to get rid of that. Have the team that wins the Pro Bowl host the Super Bowl, or even the team with the best record if you don't even want to do that. What's your thought on maybe doing something like that?
Well, I think if you went to where the winner of the Pro Bowl would host the Super Bowl next year, the conference, that would certainly change things. How much it matters to guys that play for the Browns or Carolina that probably think, well, I've got no chance of being in the Super Bowl next year anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, but a lot of those teams only send 1 or 2 representatives anyways.
Well, that's true. More than likely, that's true. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Honest to God, I'm not sure how you would change it. And if it was eliminated, maybe you eliminate it for a year and see if anybody even cares.
Right. I suspect that now
just
they
not
would-
have it and
Right.
see if anybody cares, and then in a year or two, think about how can we fix this thing and bring it back if there is a viable option to bring it back.
The
for.
NHL had to revamp theirs, and they've turned it into a lot more interesting.
See, I would even change, getting off subject a little bit, I would even change the NBA's All-Star game to change things up, is I would have the U.S. versus the world. Because there's so many foreign players in the NBA now that I would take it away from East versus West. I would change it up, maybe every other year. It's USA versus the world. Now, it's a little different to do that in the NFL because most of the guys are American anyway.
Right.
But you'd probably have 90% American and 10% of the guys would be kickers, and they don't play defense. So, maybe you ought to just shut it down for a year or two until you can figure out a different way, because I just don't see any other way of fixing it. I really don't.
Well, I think, quite honestly, the generation of the fan interest has gone down tremendously. And I think, quite honestly, I agree with Mr. Becknell. Do away with it.
Okay.
If you have somebody that's selected to the Pro Bowl, how I said before, obviously, is just make an awards banquet before the Super Bowl and let that go. Because I see no interest whatsoever in the Pro Bowl. Most of the players there don't give a crap, and the fans don't give a crap.
Now, real quick, what do you think about taking the Pro Bowl aside? No matter what they do with it, what do you think about taking away the neutrality of the Super Bowl and having it at the best team's record, the team with the best record's home field?
Well, that's the way it's done in every sport. I mean, baseball, if you have the best record, Of course, now with the way I would probably do that in all sports. I would take away baseball's the National League wins, so the National League has home field. And I get it that they want to make that game a little bit more competitive, and maybe they have.
And it has helped.
Yeah, it has.
But to me, the team with the best record should have home field if that's how it plays out. I mean, that's what you play for. You play for the home field. The teams in the NFL play for the home field all year long. That's what you try to maneuver your way into having the home field. You want to play at home. And then it comes to the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden, well, now we got to go to this year Indianapolis, next year New Orleans. Of course, New Orleans could be playing a home game next year if they can make it that far, but I don't know if I'm not sure what you do as far as that's concerned.
I think the NFL has gotten to the point now where they are catering to the high class, big dollar people. I think, quite honestly, whoever has the best record, that's where you play. God forbid, and not God forbid, I pray for the day that the Cleveland Browns would ever get a chance to play for a championship. It should be the way it used to be when the Cleveland Browns played in championship games. There were times they actually played in Cleveland. There are times you played in New York or Chicago. This is where you need to play your games. Where the best team plays, the home team gets the advantage.
But
that is the way it should be.
Mr. 80 is correct. The NFL has gone VIP toward the Super Bowl. The average Joe fan doesn't go to the Super Bowl. He can't afford to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, look how
that Super Bowl is now for Jay-Z and his posse.
Yeah, you look at how many people this year that are going to go, and there are actually New England and New York Giants fans that are actually going to be sitting in those stands. Very, very few. It is going to be for the elite, the people that are coming in and drop money that want to be there to make it.
Yeah, it's absolutely
It needs to be back to when a championship game used to mean something.
It's all Madison Avenue, corporate America.
Yep.
That has the seats that the average fan either can't afford or just they're just not.
And the thing that I don't understand is the NFL has, in my opinion, an obligation to the teams in the cities that these teams play in to spread that around. I mean, it's always like we were discussing. It's always in Miami or New Orleans or Arizona or it's always in the same 5 or 6 different cities, and that's not fair to the rest of the teams. It's not fair to the Pittsburghs. It's not fair to the Clevelands. It's not fair to Detroit had it a couple years ago because they built a new stadium.
You better build a dome.
But I mean, yeah. Detroit's probably not going to see no Super Bowl for a long time. These small market teams that could really use the financial boost that hosting a Super Bowl would provide them aren't getting it, and that's not right.
They did play a Super Bowl in Jacksonville, which is probably about as small a city as they've ever held a Super Bowl.
Right.
Of course, that's in Florida.
Yeah.
But no, as far as hosting one in Cleveland or Pittsburgh or Indianapolis, got because they have a dome.
Yeah, right.
I mean, bottom line.
Hey, if you want to go this way, go lower levels. Go high school. Go colleges. Now, granted, they do have, like in college, they have their bowl games. But they will play bowl games in different areas. High schools, you play high school championship games in the weather, the way these kids are used to playing. That's the same way it should be with championship games, the way it used to be back in the day. Whoever has the best record, they host the game, and they got the fans there. I don't care what anyone says, the people came, they watched the game. They're the people that really wanted to be at the games. I'm tired of the commercializing.
You might want your team in the Super Bowl, but you ain't going.
No, because out of a 80, well, not even that, out of a 70, 80,000 seat stadium, there might be, like you said, there might be 10,000 actual fans there.
Unless you got some bucks to throw around, if your team's in the Super Bowl, you're not going.
Nope, that's very true.
Keep them the way it used to be back in the day when the championship games meant something.
All right, well that'll do it for segment 2 of Sports Rock. Join us for the next segment. We'll get into a slew of different topics.